Peace, God. What's the day?
Peace. This is God in them streets, and we here today to pay respects to our beloved brother, D.J Kay Slay. Rest in power. I'm sitting here with my brother, born King of Law, and we've had many experiences with D.J Kay Slay. I'd like to say one thing before I start. My show is going to be totally dedicated to D.J Kay Slay. And the reason why is that is because after I did my first interview with Brian Glaze Gibbs about the 18, I got in touch with Kay Slay once again. And I stated to him, because he usually helps me out with anything that I need to deal with in the industry, that I wanted to go on Flip the Script. I texted him. He called me back and said to me, "Peace, God, you don't need to go on anybody else's platform. You have enough content of your own. The best thing that you could do is start your own thing. And like we always say in the knowledge degree, we are the maker and owners of our reality. So therefore, from now on, it's not going to just be God in them streets, but it's also going to be the drama king still lives. All praise due to my brother. Peace.
Peace. This born King of Law, the illustrious one, you know what I mean? For FPN.com, Build This Build Group, you know what I mean? I'm here with my brother Shabu B. Allah, you know what I mean? We paying tribute to our brother in God, D.J Kay Slay. Unfortunately, returned to essence yesterday. So today, you know what I mean? We want the world, to see how our brother was loved and, cared for, you know what I mean? Because he was a real brother. And those kind of brothers is rare and far in between, when it comes to you having the ability to meet them. Because from the first time that we met him, he was nothing but straightforward. None of that Hollywood nonsense. None of that I'm bigger than you nonsense. It was straight up love, because real detect real. And that's one of the realest ones, you know what I mean? The king, you know what I mean? Whether they want to put drama in front of it or not, I'm paying tribute to the king. The black man is God, always has been, always will be. The day mathematics knowledge build, we gonna build and make it boom.
Peace, black man. I would like to bring to everybody's attention, one of the first brothers that we know that came in contact with him and used to go to his rest and everything and build with him and keep him in tune, our brother Born Life. Born Life, you know what I'm saying, had a lot to do with, constantly educating them. I would say that by the time me and Born King met him, I think we met him at the same time in the physical, when we was at Barry's.
Yeah, but you was writing them first. I think the first, you had contacted him through the pen. I think that's actually how it really happened, because you had mentioned it to me in writing, right, when you was in the academy, right? Just moving right along, right? While you was in the academy, you had some plans, and I know I said, well, write them, and you wrote them, and then he replied, and then when we met him in the flesh,
right, I was on MySpace at that time.
Yeah, but when we met him in the flesh, he was as real as he was on paper.
Right.
So it's real. He walked off that paper into our lives, and it just became a beautiful situation for us. You heard me?
Right.
Because he respected, the true and living gods. Right. So with that,
at that time, the mixtape thing was going on, and you had an African on 125th Street named Barry. And he came down to where Barry was at. And right about that time was when he was like getting ready to blow, because he had did that 4-disc CD called Face Off, where he did the interview with Alpo Martinez. And from that point on, we had a great mutual relationship. Like I said, he was more like a little brother to me. Matter of fact, the outfit that I'm wearing right now is the last outfit that I seen him in. And the reason why I wanted to say that was because, like always, me and Born King, anytime he touched North Carolina, we the first people that he contact to make sure that we there. Like I said, that was our brother. So when I walked in to the club, he had came down because he was just getting ready to release his new album, and he had hooked up with the sister down there, and they had a bunch of artists come in, and these artists were all showcasing their talent because he was going to take one of them who won and put him on his show in New York. Because like you know, Kay Slay, that was his thing. That's why he was in Hollywood. He gave everybody a chance, on his station. So when I walked in and I hugged him, and he looked at my Coogee sweater, which got Biggie on it, he laughed. He said, "Oh man, y'all cats from Brooklyn, man. Y'all always representing Brooklyn." And that just was another part of him. He was a congratulator. He wasn't a hater. My man, shout out to Corey King. He was in the building that night, showed me mad love. I'm going to post a picture with all of us together. Bought a bottle for me and everything. We politicked and all that. And we had a great time, man. And that was the last time, I seen him in the flesh. And he went back to New York, and I was hitting him, and he usually contact me back. And then somebody told me, he was in the hospital. They text me and say he was in the hospital for 8 days with the COVID. And I don't want to sound, on no conspiracy thing or anything like that, but it's just hard that, out of all of us that was there and mingling and everything else, that my brother came down with this. And like his brother said in one of these posts, his brother was, he wasn't the type that always wanted to, showcase that he's a star, that he's somebody. So when he first got to the hospital, they didn't know who he was, So they was giving him attention like everybody else until they found out who he was. But now that they found out who he was, and for now, for me to be hearing early in the morning, I didn't know he passed away yesterday. My brother told me he had texted me and let me know. But for me to hear now that my little brother is gone just like that, when they already got pills and all these other things that they supposed to be able to do to prevent somebody from it being a fatality, it don't quite stick too well with me. And the only reason why I say that, because once again, like Born King explained, it's only a few real individuals that's in this industry. Born King, I want to give you a chance to speak on how numerous times the brother used to just pick up the phone and call us and, speak to us about his personal things that he might be going through in the industry with other individuals. We don't have to really mention no names, but just how he felt about people, in general that he helped along the way in the industry. And then when he needed something from them, it was some type of problem.
What I'm going to speak to, though, right now is that fateful day. And the reason why I call it a fateful day, because I made a decision not to go.
Exactly.
It was December 21st, right? Raleigh, North Carolina, Star Bar, and it was called Living Legends Night. And I was hyped to get out the house, but this was like COVID was still kind of raging, right? So something in my mind told me, nah, God, I don't want to go. You know what I mean? But, my brother Shabu, you know what I mean? Him and his family, so they went, right? And just the mathematics of the day and how it went, right? Shabu and his family didn't get sick. But it just seemed like when Kay left Raleigh, North Carolina and went back, they said he was fighting COVID for 14 days and that he was on the ventilator until January the 2nd. Now, what's weird to me, when I heard the news, right, this early in the morning, like, because I get up like around 6 something, right? And I hear Shah, but Shah already knew about it, right? But what got me was 4 months later, like usually COVID was catching people while they was on the ventilator, right? But he battled through. He was strong enough to get through the ventilator. How do they explain how he returned to the essence from COVID after 4 months? I really don't, and I don't want to light up no kind of conspiracy candles or nothing, right? But to me, it just don't add up, because it seemed like when you do good and you try to save souls and you try to save the young and you try to redirect their energy, right, in the right direction, you understand what I'm saying? It's like these kind of weird things happen while all of the people that's pushing death, right, to our ears and to our babies, right? You know, because at one time, I know we all remember when it was nothing but R&B music, right? And I guess people got mad because R&B music made us make babies. So our population grew, right? And I guess that they were upset about that. So they figured it out, right? That if the music is about making love and black people would make babies, I guess they figured out if they could make the music be about killing and death and destruction, then instead of you making babies, you be going to funerals. And so that caused me to do some investigation this morning, and I came across a Kay Slay joint that was profound. It was about the soul, and it really, really opened my eyes to the direction that the brother went in, because at one point, maybe some of the bigger stars in hip hop were kind of like not dealing with him. But I watched just lately in the last couple of months, Papoose just blew. He got the $1 million, right? Bus came on and did a joint on his joint. So I'm seeing all of these people blow, and now I see my brother is gone, and it ain't sitting right with me. You feel me? And it's not the brothers who are blowing up that's the problem. I think the problem is it's just that industry, and being that he was a prominent voice and positive people in the industry responded to his voice, as you see when you check out his song about the soul, you'll see that he was a power that had to be reckoned with, and maybe certain people didn't want his power to continue to be seen and heard. I trust that that's not the case, and that our brother just couldn't beat up COVID. And I really just build it. That's what it is, and that it's nothing nefarious, and that it's nothing conspiratorial.
Okay, my brother. As far as the nation was concerned, the brother was always 1,000 with me. After we first met each other in 2007, you know, I was building with him, and I told him about the show and prove. And at that time, Papoose was just, you know, jumping off. I had met Pat a few years before that when he first was getting started in his career, because one of our brothers, you know, rest in power, Big Born Truth, you know, was the one that was helping him with his career at first. So that's the first time that I met Papoose out in Canarsie. So I asked the DJ Kay Slay, you know, you think if you could bring Papoose to our show and prove, because, you know, Pat, you know, he represent the gods, you know. He a god as far as in my book, a king and everything else, because the brother ain't did nothing but always show me love, you know. And they showed up at our 2007 show and prove. And afterwards, DJ Kay Slay was first going to donate $500 to Allah Youth Center in Mecca. But after the show, he was so impressed with the show and everything with the guards that I didn't even have knowledge of it. And he went back to the school, you know, and dealt with one of our elderly brothers, Allah B, and gave him $1,000 for our scholarship for the youth. So he always, like Born King said, you know, always kept it 1,000 with me, You know, he done came to my house, ate at my house, and everything with my children. All type of support. Matter of fact, this flag right here that's in back of us is the flag, the universal flag of Exact. Thank you, because he was the individual that got these flags done. And the reason why I say these, because our universal flag was done by these carpet individuals. I don't know their name at this time, but later on I will say it in another one of my videos. But they also did a long wall-to-wall carpet with Erykah Badu's photo in it. And she definitely appreciated that. I think she might have it probably hanging up in her house somewhere because that's how beautiful it was. But this was the one gift that I got for my input. It was Born King's ideal that we came up with the 50th. And then he got with me, and I got with Master Lord, and then Allah Intelligence, and we were the three individuals that made the necessary contribution on the financial tip. And we brought that together. So once again, this flag right here, I'm going to turn it around. As you can see, I have all the signatures here. This was 2014. Remy Ma was just coming home. I got in touch with Kay. Papoose was already going to come and do his thing. And I said, yo, Kay, you think that you could get Remy Ma, to come? And he said, he spoke to Pat. And Pat said she couldn't do it because at that time, she was just being released. And you can't do anything or go anywhere without approval from, your probation or parole officer or whatever. But we was blessed with that night with the Queen. Shout out, Remy, all day, every day. Pat, all day, every day. King and Queen, representing, you know what I'm saying? The real universe, man, woman, and child. Because every time they on TV, they showing you that black love. But anyway, here's Remy Ma. That's her signature right here. We had she was in the first show that she done when she touched down, because she wasn't even supposed to be there that night. But she was able to come and show out for us. Y'all gonna be able to get the video real soon, because that was one of the most fantastic ones ever made. Here's Papoose, signature right here. You know what I'm saying? DJ Kay Slay. We got Nori and Capone on there. We got Royal Flush on there. Sadat X, Lord Jamal. A few others that's on there. Capadonna. If anybody I'm leaving out for the moment, you know what I'm saying, still salute. And thank y'all so very much for participating in our 50th anniversary. And we're looking forward to doing it again. So hopefully we'll have just as much artists or even more artists that want to contribute. Because we constantly keep on building. We constantly keep teaching the youth. Like the God said, the counterculture. When they started taking rap music before, you know what I'm saying, Onyx and other individuals put your guns in the air, and most of the rap that was from the very soul and root and foundation of this come from our knowledge. Where y'all think ciphers and all that come from? And all the brothers and sisters mainly that was coming out, they had positive messages that was in the music to influence the people and to bring about a change, which is what our brother constantly did. He constantly showcased it. New music, new talent. He constantly always was trying to do something to help support our youth. But once they changed it and they allowed, you know what I'm saying, like what we got going on right now, my young brothers, man, I'm not going to take nothing away from y'all. Y'all got to do it whatever y'all got to do. But be very mindful and conscious. They want y'all to put that drill music out there. They want you to put out music telling about how you going around after you done made millions of dollars shooting and killing other millionaires that's in the game. Instead of y'all coming together and utilizing that money and that talent to buy back your community, to support your community. Y'all got to stop fighting and killing one another. That's what D.J Kay Slay, you know what I'm saying, was all about. And that's why, like I said, when he said to me, Shy, do your own thing, God in them streets is going to be dedicated to my man, you know, like Born King said, King Kay Slay, God Kay Slay. You know, my brother went off a little bit, but like I said, he's a witness. Like we always say in the nation, have an eyewitness. We always together to eyewitness the truth. And that brother used to call us on GP and just talk to us about things going on in the industry. And I'm so happy when my brother was saying certain names, certain people, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a foundation to everything in existence. Nothing and things just don't happen by chance. It's a cause and effect for everything. So like I said, man, that brother always been there to support us. He always been about this. And nothing that we say about him is a lie, a hype up, or anything like that. It's just the truth. The truth. The facts. Reality.
Peace. So, you know, Kay Slay was definitely a pioneer. You understand? He was a pioneer, which means that he was with that first generation of hip hop. You understand? Like, he's definitely connected to them. Like, so we definitely mesh because we're pioneers. And on October 4th, 2014, October 4th, 5th, and 6th, that weekend, we had the Gods and Earth's 50th year anniversary weekend. And so when we asked Kay Slay to be one of the hosts of the weekend, being that we already had that relationship, he had already started coming to the show and proves, right? And seeing that not only did he support us, but that we supported him and that the youth was definitely attracted to him. I always noticed that as much love as he showed to the youth, he showed that equal love to the pioneers. So what he did was he bridged the gap and he crossed the divide so that there would be no division between the pioneers of hip hop and the new youth of hip hop. The only difference was the message, right? Because for the pioneers of hip hop, you understand, they can actually trace a lot of the foundation of hip hop, like standing on your square, you know what I mean, cypher and all of that. They can actually trace that to back to the street, where guards would be on street corners just naturally building with our natural flow. And so that's why when we did our 50th year anniversary, our thing was to get all of the hip hop artists that we remember who were pioneers back in the days, who paid homage to the true and living gods, because we were born and raised in New York City, right? And I'm not sure if everybody around the country is aware of this, but New York City is known as the city of the gods, right? And at the end of the day, when hip hop was born in the BX, right? The BX was flooded with the gods. So even Kool Herc, he will tell you, he will acknowledge that it was the gods who was there in the beginning.
The Herculoid.
You understand? The gods was there in the beginning. We laid the foundation because of our self-style wisdom and the way that we could like just really just keep building without breathing, seeming like we didn't breathe, but we could just build for hours. You understand what I'm saying? But in the creation of hip hop, what I really want to say and what Kay Slay represented always was that hip hop brought life, not death. Right? But rap, which is how hip hop evolved after the injection of a piece of paper painted green with a white man face on it, with that injection, hip hop kind of became a rap industry where other people began to make millions of dollars off of our raw talent. So it's us, just like in basketball, football. It's the athletes, right? who are getting the concussions in football, but who's making all the money, right? So this is when, like if you look at LL Cool J, you look at Rakim, the God MC, you didn't hear the N-word, B-word. In fact, as corny as y'all might consider it, but when the Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff they never cursed. But I guess the message with the onset of the red, black, and the green, you know, with the key, sissy, and with the rise of consciousness, right? Being transferred through the airwaves of sight and sound. Sight when the videos came, but sound in the beginning when it was just the music. Like, we as a people began to be uplifted. Like, so even the gods were able to attract. I can remember the first time when I heard Peace on WBAI, right? With the God, what's the God name?
You talking about Just
Love Superstar?
Just Lord the Superstar and C Divine
and
the
C
Mastermind.
Divine the Mastermind.
The Supreme Team.
The Supreme
World
Team.
famous Supreme Team.
Let me tell y'all something. The first time that I had heard Peace come through the radio, it was monumental. When I first saw Rakim with the flag on the back of his jacket, when I heard Peace God, when I heard his lyrics, even though I already had knowledge, I knew that it would have an effect on our people, and it was a positive effect. When the Brand Nubians came, when the brothers from New Jersey, Poor Righteous Teachers came, you see what was going on is that because of us speaking this truth to power with music, we began to teach the human families of the planet Earth.
Big Daddy Kane.
And Big Daddy Kane coming out of Medina, King's son. You understand? All of these messages in the music was uplifting black people. But another people kind of like didn't like the fact that we were being uplifted. Because their job, and I'm not trying to be any kind of way but real, their job is to keep their foot on our neck. And to use and abuse us for money. And so at the end of the day, when we did the 50th anniversary, we brought Capone Noriega, we brought all of the hip hop people from back in the days that we thought paid any tribute to the nation. Smith and Wesson,
Royal Flood,
Capone Noriega, me and Capone, he goes back like folded chairs. But what I'm saying to y'all is this: regardless to how the change occurred, when the change happened, we were still here. Our communities were devastated because they had to change the message in the music because we were becoming too powerful. And Kay Slay was there from the beginning. He knows all of the pioneers, and he always made sure that the pioneers got their just due. So when we said we're gonna do the 50th anniversary, he came on board. Erykah Badu came on board, and together they hosted and at the world famous Apollo Theater. Let me say this. World famous Apollo Theater. Shout out to when my brother spoke about black love and the fact that Papoose, you know what I'm saying, was definitely affiliated and definitely moving with Kay Slay. But the fact that when Remy first came home, her first show she ever did, when she came home after that long bid, was on the Apollo Theater stage. Man, I can't do nothing but salute. I can't do nothing but salute. Because I'm going to tell y'all this. This was our first time doing any kind of event like that. And we did it at the world famous Apollo Theater. And we gave some people their first shot at that stage.
Tragedy.
Where they could rub that rock right there. God. And so we are truly grateful for our brother because he really came through for us. You heard
Peter Guns.
And he always did that. And
Capadonna,
and everybody who
Keith
came
Murray, Smith and Wesson.
You see how my brother knows these names and is firing them off? We salute all of y'all. You understand what I'm saying? Because in the beginning it was the word, and when we put the word to music, we made it happen.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? And we so adamant about what we saying because, you know, we teach the truth. You know, and all those that's about the truth is going to understand because we got a job to do. We got to clear up a lot of this madness out here in the streets and especially through the airwaves. What do they say? Music calms a savage beast. But if you flip it around, and you put the wrong music out there, then instead of calming the savage beast, you make the beast more savage. We say sound travel at 1,120 feet per second. That means no 120. Get your mind right. Knowledge and wisdom bring about understanding. Understanding must be understood. But understanding, the most important part is to be able to go under and be left standing, perpendicular, right and exact, on your square. There's only one time in the whole history, and I had to beg this man to take some money from me. And he's big as big could be. But he came down here to Greensboro, North Carolina a few years ago, and you know what I'm saying? Did his thing for me in my man's club. 117. I didn't get the turnout like I expected, but I never did it for money. I just did it to show him some appreciation. And because it wasn't a big turnout, he only took half. I had already paid him, and he was good. It ain't too many individuals that you're going to find like that. Matter of fact, when we was putting the show together, Born King, you remember I was just coming home. And I was constantly, our brothers, shout out, to Exact. Shout out to Shao B. You know what I'm saying? Exact is the manager of Brand Nubians. Shao B is a senior editor.
Writer for the Source.
Writer for the Source. And those are the brothers that was moving with us because those are the guards that's in the industry. And I got, they did help and participate a lot in helping us make, that show come about. But I kept like, yo, what's up? Get me in touch with Kay Slay, and I guess they might not at that time understood the real big brother and little brother relationship that me and them had, and I got to also give a shout out to my man. I loved him 1,000 also, rest in power. My man, Big Chaz, Black Hand. Salute, the desert, 1,000. And I got back up on Facebook or whatever it was at that time. I said, yo, let me hit Chaz. Word is born. I hit Chaz. I gave Chaz my number. Chaz hit me back. You know what I'm saying? We talked about it. He said, yo, Shy, Tuesday night, Kay is going to be up in Sue's Rendezvous. He said, I'm going to be there and I'm going to put him on the phone. And word is born. Like I said, all them brothers kept it 1,000 because they real dudes, real individuals. And he got on the phone that Tuesday and put me on the phone with Kay. And from that point, it was no looking back. Yeah. But like I said, he came down there and he did that one for me. You know what I'm saying? And I got people in my family, a lot of brothers and sisters, and I'm just not a fake person. I can't just make tears come to my eyes for somebody, and it's not that it's any disrespect. It took me 8 years to cry for my aunt that I love like my old earth. You know what I'm saying? But it has to be real. But when I heard that this morning, you know what I'm saying? I just couldn't stop distilling, man. Because I knew, we had another great king, another great God, another supreme being that was about our people and about the upliftment of our people that was in a very, very influential position because sound waves go out throughout the whole planet. And this is why this platform is so important for them. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to show the versatility that exists within our community. We are very educated individuals. Born King he's also the chief editor of the 5% newspaper. And the reason why I click with my brother like this, because I know how much he loved this. And like we say, builders build. That's why we formed the Builders Build group. This is why we always constantly building, even when people try to destroy us. Because the law world manifest still live. I want to give a shout out to, just take a second, for my man that just passed away, Octavius. You know what I'm saying? He took on his father's name, who we once knew at one time as Powerful. I couldn't make it there, but you know, my brother Justice Hakim was there, you know, and everlasting, sincere, you know, the guards showed up to show their respect. You know, I know him from the projects, and, you know, when I first came around, my brother that ain't here right now, Arifa, he introduced me, and I knew who he was from day one because he looked just like his father, you know? So I had to make sure that I send my, you know, supreme positive, you know, condolences to his family also.
So with that being said, right, we send our deepest condolences to the family, to the mental, physical, righteous, and hip-hop family of D.J Kay Slay. You know what I'm saying? He transitioned, but, you know, it doesn't die. It only changes in appearance. We know that he's going to live forever in the hearts and minds of all those who knew and loved him. And I know that we're going to celebrate his life most righteously. You understand what I'm saying? Because this is change. Change is the only constant in the universe. No one gets to stay here. But what effect did you have on the people while you were here will speak to whether or not you made a difference. And we know for a fact that D.J Kay Slay has affected the lives positively of most of the people that know and love him, of all the people that know and love him. We know it because we see we see Pap shining. You hear me? We see how our 50th year anniversary was a super success. The song that is on the TV right now is called D.J Kay Slay, In My Soul. This is the one that I watched earlier today when I heard about him. Papoose, AZ, Mysonne, and Trey Williams. Because at the end of the day, he was saving lives so that he could save souls. I can remember, and I'm going to go back. Because if you listen to Kiss or you listen to the Locks, even now, today, they say God. But I remember when the change began to happen, and I heard people stop saying God and started saying dog. I remember when the warning came, it said, we headed for self-destruction, self-destruction. We saw it coming, but they helped it get here. The energy transferred from the east, where the sun rises in the east. The Son of Man rose in the east. Allah, Almighty God, Allah rose in the east. He came from the south and he rose in the east. And when he arose on this west coast right here, and New York City became the city of the gods, we kind of like outgrew the gang culture. And everybody knows New York City, the city of the god. But when the change happened, we went from saying God, and when I heard people calling another black man dog, I said, this is the destruction. It's coming. Right?
No disrespect to the West Coast.
But what I'm saying is, the thing about the West Coast is it wasn't them. It was who was paying them to do it. Right? Because they were just reporters of their own street life. Because on the West, the gang culture was the culture. On the East, the God culture was the dominant culture. So
T.J. Rogers say that inside
right.
the Feds magazine. The East Coast was known for the 5% nation.
Exactly.
OG Mac did the East Coast a disservice by bringing the gang culture to the East Coast.
But at the end of the day, everybody, the pioneers know, let's fix the flag back, right? All of the pioneers know that this was the state of the East and the West. But the West was introduced to us through the iced tea.
Mm-hmm.
When they hit us with the iced tea, then they hit us with the ice cube. Did anybody ever stop to think how it came in that order? The iced tea hit us with the colors, because they didn't just come with the name and the music.
And he said, well, I'm in the city, I build with the God.
They came, right, they came with the movie. And the movie Colors, right, spoke about on the West Coast that we really wasn't privy to unless we had traveled to the West. We really wasn't privy to just how in depth the gang culture was. But Colors introduced it to us. And then
on that level, because they didn't even have no rags. That was another thing. I kind of like was, I don't want to say ignorant. I just didn't know about the gang culture in the early 80s or the late 70s. I didn't know about the West Coast gang culture because all I lived was God culture. But at the end of the day, when I was introduced to Ice-T, then I saw Colors. When I was introduced to Ice Cube, I was introduced to Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood. Now, people who made those movies, that put the money up for those movies, they were pushing a message. And they would, of course, like they always do, they employ us. And so if you look at Ice-T and Ice Cube today, they're in prominent positions. Like Ice-T is on almost every commercial, every TV show. Ice Cube can make any movie he wants. But Ice Cube first came with America's Most Wanted.
But,
and that was...
Right, but didn't he come with NWA?
He came out with NWA.
Right.
His first solo album
but what I'm saying
is America's Most Wanted.
Right, but didn't he do that here on the East Coast?
He might have did the album on the East Coast.
Right, because you see, out of the West came NWA. Now out of the East was coming Brand Nubian and Tribe Called, right? But what I'm saying is this is the change in the message. To me, it changed hip hop into rap.
But they also made a record though out in the West Coast that was against violence and all that with Eazy-E, you know.
Well,
after self-destruction.
The only thing that I'm saying to you is, with the onset of the West Coast, we saw the influx of money. And the influx of money meant that someone outside of the culture was paying for the message. Because like Rakim and them, they like, if you look at the basketball stars of today and the money they make, and you look back at the pioneers like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, if you look at their salary, it's nothing in comparison. You feel me?
Of course.
So what I'm saying to you is this is why a lot of the pioneers have been forgotten, because they didn't become millionaires. They didn't become super rich. While the young who come in with the new message, they getting super rich. And one of the most profound songs that I know from one of the youth is the Baby song, where it's bigger than black and white. I love that song.
Right.
I think the message is super profound.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And to me, when Snoop Doggy Dogg became the Dog Father, and he stomped on the buildings, and he came and he stomped on the building, it was an imprint left.
Right, but that was controversial because Snoop and them explained at first it was never no beef intended.
No, I'm not saying beef. I'm just saying it was an imprint.
But it was created too, and it was utilized. I know where you going with it.
Where I'm going with it.
As far as once he stomped on the building, he brought in like the gang culture.
The imprint of it. Because if it didn't start then when did it start? I'm talking about here on the East Coast, because that's when it started. Because it was bought here. It was a transfer of energy. Because if I'm saying on a record, the black man is God, the black woman's a queen, black is beautiful, the white man's the devil, right? I'm saying something uplifting for blacks, right? But somebody else might feel some kind of way because they don't want to be called the devil, right? So they say, well, we tired of hearing that. Hey, wait a minute. Let's put money behind a different message. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the change came because the counterculture became involved in our culture, as they usually do. And once they flooded our culture with the money, they paid for a new message. And that message is now leading you mentioned these young brothers is millionaires killing each other. Now you tell me, what sense do that make?
Why not give them some money, and the more if they get money and they promoting what that is about, which is death and destruction, then now we have means to promote it even more, because now we got more money, we can buy more guns, we can buy more drugs. Why is, you know what I'm saying, all these rappers, coming out. Look at Pop Smoke. I'm just gonna use him because he's recent. You know what I'm saying? All these dudes be coming multi hundreds of millionaires, and they're gone. So now, what happens to all that money? Yeah, some of it's going to their family, depending on what type of contract that they had. But now it seems like it's more important to boost up a guy, and get him, up there. And what somebody said to me when I was talking about it the other day, they said, "Yo, Shy, you know that these guys, the big companies and everything that take them in, that in the hidden, blueprint, it's a policy that these companies have on them. So if a company got a $10 million or $20 million policy on you, or whoever you dealing with or whatever, along with you being popular, it's to their, you know what I'm saying? It's to their asset to get rid of you."
Right. That's why my focus is not on the artists. My focus is on the companies. Because it seems to me, and I could be wrong, but it seems to me that at least 85% of the new rappers right now belong to a gang by whatever name that gang is, and that they have real beef. And so it seems like the companies get that particular artist, especially when he's super hot. They get him in the studio. He makes 7 albums, right? And then when he's killed, the record company eats off of 7 albums, and as soon as the artist goes, the album sales take off into the stratosphere. So these people are like bloodsuckers of the poor, because it's not that these young men are physically poor, because they super rich, got way more money than me, but the fact that they are leaving this planet at 24, 25, 26. Look at Young Dolph. Look at all the... I'm talking about they saying right now that being a rapper is one of the most dangerous jobs on the planet. Oh, are you kidding? That's crazy.
Hold up. And my man brought to my attention when we was talking about it that every rapper that died lately, Dolph, all them dudes is connected to some type of one company.
And so that's what exactly, right? So, but what I'm saying to you is that this change, this promotion of death and destruction, like you can't say, "I'm gonna go kill a white man" in a song. You can't say it. But you could say, "I killed my brother all day. He stepped on my foot, I bust him in the head. Yeah, I shot him, I shot his mama." You can do all that.
And you telling on yourself, because how many of y'all is not coming back getting all these federal
So you can
indictments
promote Black Death,
up?
right? You can promote Black Death, but if you promote Black Life, they don't want to give you no money. Because for them, the message is, we want to kill as many, we want as... the KKK sits back and say, "We ain't got to do nothing to y'all," but they still doing something to us. But they say, "We ain't really got to do nothing to y'all because y'all doing the job better."
I used to read one all the time up when I was in the...
It's crazy right now.
It used to be called Salute to the Gangbangers. And the KKK said inside of that particular report that, "Yo, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got to kill none of y'all because y'all killing more of each other than the whole period of us lynching y'all back then." I mean, when is y'all going to really realize and wake up and smell the coffee? Y'all young, that's 13, 14, 15, 16, because there's babies killing babies. Like Big said before, go back. This ain't back in the days with your fist fight ways. But now it done turned to the point where, a fist fight is good. You get a bloody nose. You get a black eye. You might get your tooth knocked out. A lot of those individuals that I had those type of fights with, we later on became best friends. But when you pick up a gun and you go shoot somebody in the head, or you drive by their house and shoot 100 shots into their house and don't kill them and kill an innocent baby. Down here in these little towns, we get it all the time on the news. 2 girls, one in High Point, one in Greensboro, 18, 19 years old, got babies in their stomach, 7 and 8 months pregnant, and they got killed with the babies in their stomach because a young brother that came by that got beef with another young brother from school. And instead of it being an after-school fist fight, it's an after-school, let me shoot 100 rounds into your house and kill everybody that's innocent.
So
that's not gangster.
But what I'm saying to y'all is, I know you really might not be able to grasp it, but a lot of it is programming, and the programming has been given to you through the music. You sit there, you bob your head, you driving, you getting hyped, and then all you hear is murder, 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 kill, kill, kill.
Smoking, taking.
You understand what I'm
drugs.
saying? That's what you begin to do, and I'm not just saying it, I'm watching y'all do it. So you can't say you're not doing it. We watch the news. You're doing it now. Because when it was make love, oh baby, I love you, we saw the birth rate rise. Now people didn't want that. They didn't want more black babies being born. They want more black men, women, and children being murdered. And y'all falling right into the trap. So get out the trap. At this point, listen to the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that our brother Kay Slay was definitely trying to deliver. You know what I mean? He brought 100 MCs together, 50 MCs first time. Then he brought 100, right? Because what he was showing y'all was we stronger together than we are apart. And if we breathe life into our word and breathe life into our music, then that's what we'll be about. But if we consistently and just only want to breathe death into the ears of our young and our old and our middle age, then we doing nothing but planting fear and causing destruction and making death kind of like a way of life. And some of y'all don't even expect to be 28.
Mm-hmm.
Some of y'all think if you make it to 25 that you happy. But I want y'all to live to be 70, 80, 90. Unfortunately, our brothers left. But we still got to carry the message on because we here. And as long as we here, we're responsible. Our Father saved our lives. It's our job to save your life. He got through to us. And trust me when I tell you, we was all that you understand that you could describe. But we brought into life and being self-saviors. And then after we said we are self-saviors, we said we're going to save others. And the others is our brothers. And the others is our sisters. And the others is our babies. And the others is our nation. So that's the message.
Save the baby.
That's our message. Right? Because when you save the babies, you're saving the future. And the only way a nation can exist is if it has babies who will bring it into the future. So that's why as grown men and grown women with the knowledge of self, it is our duty. It is our job. And we've done it. Wu-Tang, we didn't salute Wu-Tang. You understand?
They didn't make it to our concert, but we still love our brothers and we looking forward
just like
the next concert for all of y'all to show up. That's right, Sun God.
But what I will say is this. You go to China, you go to Japan, you understand? They might not even know how to speak English, but they heard it. They know black man's God. They done heard the brand new beings. Like, we not a dog. We not dogs.
Wu-Tang music.
We not dogs, my people.
And nor are we demons, young brothers.
Talk about it.
We're not demons.
Talk about it.
You know what I'm saying?
Talk about it.
They used to have a book called From Niggas to Gods. Now it seems like the gods is going back to being niggas. And y'all better understand what that word means. That's not a pigmentation word. Nigga means any man of low characteristics. You know what I'm saying? So y'all brothers got to understand yourselves. Negro mean a man that need to grow. We're grown men. We don't fear the devil anymore. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to wake up. And our brother, we shining this light on him because he deserved it. And y'all know that. Y'all know he was up there always on his rate. All his platform did was cater to new artists and trying to bring people along and uplift people. So like I said, once again, this is nothing fake. I called my man Born King, and I'm like, Born King, I can't do this show and dedicate this show to my brother, Kay Slay, without having you involved. CIAA everywhere. I asked him for pictures. Maybe we might have some in this interview, when I edit it. Maybe we won't. But, we plenty of times, man, and all the time. Same way, vice versa. If he doing something, you know what I'm saying? He inviting us there, man. And this is what this is all about, man. So whoever take over his spot or whatever, I hope that you bring the same conscious awareness. I hope you bring the same love to the hip-hop industry. Like Born King said, me and Kay talked about it before, hip-hop represents graffiti, breakdancing, all of that. Rap is just MC, DJ. But hip-hop is a culture. It's a way of life. And me and him talked before, I didn't know how thorough he was into that graffiti writing, but once again, I was a graffiti writer also. Born, out there in Cypress Hill, Linden Plaza before it was built, over the A train or Law train. The first person I started writing graffiti with was my man Sale, Stanley Bell, who's Zab Judah's uncle. Shout out to Kathy. Zab's mother, she was the earth up on Mount Everest prior to her, getting with the Ben Yahweh. I remember when Zab was in her stomach. But anyway, also rest in peace to my man Little Free, Zab's uncle, Bobby Bell, the whole Bell family. You know what I'm saying? So I used to write graffiti back then. I was writing King B, and then I changed my name to 10, and my man Sale, he used to write 2, and we was a part of the 3 Yard Boys, 3YB. Used to go around when people wrote, thing, you went around if they was a sucker or you wanted to get to them, you used to put Hot 110 on their joint, which later on gangs use when they throw up their signs, another one come through and put something over it to show the disrespect. But a lot of that stuff, it all got a foundation. It all has a root. Our father taught us, to teach all the human families of the planet Earth. That's why we not pro-black nor anti-white. But in the same token, we going to be pro-black when it comes to making sure that we do our job in the community. All you old cats is saying y'all gangsters and y'all this and y'all that. If you're not going back into your community or you scared to go into your community, jump up on one of these right here. Do something to give back. Because if they got some respect for you and you still could go back into your hood or whatever it may be, we universal. So we ain't got no hood. Everywhere we go, we teach this. And however you got to go about it to get their minds right, this is what we do. So I'm going to tell y'all, from this point on, it ain't like my joint going to blow up because I say it's going to blow up. It's going to blow up because that's what it's destined to do. And my brother that ain't here right now, he giving me all the energy that I need for this show and for this platform. Because like I said, once again, my brother called me and said to me, Shabu, do not get on nobody's platform, brother. Build for yourself. Do why you going to take that to somebody else when you can do it for yourself? And I said, black man, you right and exact. Because that's the knowledge, the great. Who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, and God of the universe. So I'm going to be the maker and owner of this. Once again, subscribe. It's free to God's in them streets. I had a joint before that I was getting ready to put up. There's fire that's going to come, but nothing don't come before me paying respect to my brother. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if my man Born King got something to leave y'all with, but at this point,
Yeah, in closing,
peace.
Right? In closing, I really want to speak to the youth. Because Shabu mentioned that word demon. And I hear too many young talking about I'm on demon time. I'm a demon. And they serious. Because they serious about 2 pieces of steel. Like they really serious about that. And that's very, it's dangerous for their soul. Because you pulling in that negative, when you pull in that kind of energy, right? You attracting the energy of the evil that lives. Because evil lives, it breathes, it walks, it talks. It's real. If you seen it and you lived after, understand that's your second chance at life in one lifetime. Just do the best you can to come back to God. And I'm not talking about a mystery. Black man, look inside yourself. And the same way that you made those millions, right? With a message. If they tell you you can't send a positive message, then the messages you've already sent is enough. Don't become a demon. Don't do the work of the evil that lives. Do the work of the God that is you. That's what Kay Slay would want you to do. That's what we want you to do. I need all of y'all to go check out In My Soul, the official video, DJ Kay Slay with Papoose, AZ, Mysonne, and Trey Williams. Check me out on 5%ofnews.com. Get a subscription to the 5% newspaper hard copy. Build this build group. We do it. We did it. We get it done. We the true and living gods. And with that, I say peace.
Peace.